Hello, Mr. Miller, 7th grade math class. I just want to go ahead and throw out that while I'm making this video, I am in my room B4 while they are playing basketball upstairs. So you might hear a lot of banging going around above my voice. But that's okay, because really all you got to do is focus on the board, and I'll be pausing the video a lot for you to follow along, okay? But today we're going to be doing bell work for 7th grade. You're going to need a pencil and a piece of paper. So hopefully some of you have already figured out that you need to have your paper out. You should have already had a pencil out at this point. And technically you will need a calculator, right? Because some of these are pretty hard problems. So we are going to start out with this first problem. And yes, it does have decimals in it, but it is not the end of the world, okay? Make that a little bit smaller. Now, what I'm going to do first is the same as always. Draw my line. Now, what do I have in common? Well, I've got a number with a variable here. I've got a number with a variable here. And then I've got a decimal and just a whole number right over here. But neither of them have a variable, so they go together, right? So, the real question is what am I going to move first? Well, considering the fact that these two are like terms and they're on the same side, they are definitely going to be combined first. So I don't actually have to do the opposite of either of them. I'm just going to do 3.4 minus 3, and that'll give me 0.4y. Bring down what I did not use, so minus 5.2 equals 2. Alright, and that first part is now officially done. I don't have to do anything with the top part anymore. Now, I do still have these two like terms right here. So what I got to do is figure out a way to get this over there. But for me to get over this line, I've got to do the opposite. So the opposite of a minus, which at this point hopefully you've got it, it is a positive. So plus 5.2. And I have to do it to both sides here. So let me draw my line to separate that. Those two are going to cancel out. I'm going to bring down what I did not use, which is 0.4y equals 2 plus 5.7 is 7.2. Okay? Now, by this point, we've got it down to now just a one-step equation. Now, this one-step equation, all I'm going to have to do is somehow figure out to get this away from my y. Now some of you might be saying, well, I could have done it up here and then done this next. I can't do that because this is right next to the y, so it should be saved for last. This should be my last part right here. And so since it's right next to this y, I will pretend that there's a dot there, and that means times, so the opposite would be divide by, not 4, 0.4. Divide by 0.4 over here as well. Okay? And that is going to equal, hold on, let me get my calculator ready. That'll be 7.2 divided by 0.4 equals 18. Okay? 18, and that is, in fact, my final answer. So even though that one had some decimals in there, it still was all the same properties, all the same steps. You just have some different looking numbers, right? Now, I'm going to really throw you a curveball now, because we are dealing with something we haven't done a whole lot with in these multi-step equations. I am actually going to start out with distributive properties, because that'll make me be able to simplify it on the next one. So I'm going to have 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 7 is a positive 28. And that equals, I didn't use any of this. None of that was used. So that's just going to come down. 6x minus 4. Now, I can box my like terms and underline my integers right there. Well, this one is the smallest of the two variables, and that's what I always want to move first. So I'm going to do minus 4x on both sides. And what that's going to do for me is cancel this out, bring down what I did not use, which is a positive 28. 6 minus 4 is 2x. Didn't use that either, so minus 4. Now there's still going to be some of you that want to divide this 2 right here, and that's just not the case. That is not what you're going to move. You have to move this 4 first, because it is not right next to the x, and the 2 is right next to the x. So the opposite of my negative 4 is a positive 4. Okay, so 28 plus 4 is 32 equals 2x. And from there, I got to figure out how to get my 2 away from the x. The way I do that would be by dividing, because it's right next to it. So, x equals 32 divided by 2 is 16. And that is my final answer. Yes! Boom! Now this one's a little bit more traditional for what we were doing before. Here's an oval, means nothing. And here is a square. Has nothing to do with our problem, I understand that, but it just looked really exciting. I'm sorry. So I'm going to draw my line here, and I'm going to draw my line there. Okay? I am going to whoosh. Wow, that looks cool. Whoosh. Oh, not working. Whoosh. Oh, jerk. Whoosh. Look at that. A little too big, right? Boom. Gosh, that is the most exciting thing in the world. Good. Combine my like terms is what I got to do. I have to get these two together. Which one's smaller? This one. That one is the smaller one. Okay? So I would have to do minus 3x, because that's the opposite of just a positive 3x. These two are not used. So minus 9 and positive 4 will come down here. Cancels out. Oops. What did I do? Cancels out. 7x minus 3x is 4x. Okay? Now I still have... I don't like how that one came out. Still have those two integers that need to go together. And I cannot move that 4 yet because it's right next to the x, so it's got to be last. So my next step should be to move the 9 away. And the opposite of a minus 9 is a plus 9. Okay? Those will cancel out. 4x equals 4 plus 9 is, in fact, 13. Okay? I can tell you right now, this should give you a decimal because 4 does not go into 13. So what I'll do is, what? I've got it right next to this x. That means times, so I will divide by 4. Divide by 4. X equals 3.25. And I'm going to use this fancy whoosh. Oh, it didn't work out good. Whoosh. And that is my answer. How exciting is that perfect oval? I agree. Best thing that ever happened in your life. I hope this was helpful. As always, you should be able to find this on YouTube. Thank you and have a nice day.